Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow.
And welcome into the program. This is your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids resource for a common sense approach to planning for our financial, our investment, and our retirement future. He is certified financial planning professional Ron Corser, CFP, founder of Cornerstone Retirement Partners, helping to clarify and uncomplicate the financial world and the decisions that you have to make with your money, which is no easy task in this day and time. Ron, we always appreciate your guidance and insight.
It's nice to talk with you again. And everybody listening to today's program, welcome aboard. For those of you on your way to church, remember you can always tune into the full presentation by going to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Or if you have questions after listening to part or all of this, give us a call at our office, 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581, and we can help answer your questions. Just tell us what they are and how to reach you. So we're going to have an interesting program today. Interesting in that I think they're all interesting, but I have a very biased approach here, right? But we have come through the most amazing first quarter in a long, long time, particularly when you think about inflation, when you think about upheaval, maybe culturally, politically, when you think about the war in Ukraine, when you think about raging inflation, government spending that seems to be out of control, going forever. And then just how do we make any sense out of the information that's being fed to us from all these different sources, what's true and what isn't. So I can't help people a lot with the other parts, but we can certainly kind of bring some clarity and truth to the whole world of income and retirement planning in the whole financial world. So a lot of clients we have, and a lot of people I talk to are very concerned about what they're seeing and hearing on TV, reading in the newspapers, whatever internet source of information. There's a lot of confusion out there. And here's how I address that in my own life and with our clients. There's always going to be a million different opinions about a million different things. The most important thing we can do and what we can help people do, our clients especially, is focused on the main thing. There's an expression that my business coach tells me, he says, Ron, focus on the main thing. What is the main thing? And if we focus on what we define as the main thing, it becomes a little easier, I think, to navigate through this crazy world. Because it is crazy. I'll be the first one to say it's insane, and we're living in insane times. So let's focus on the main thing. And the main thing when it comes to our money, when I talk to people and I try to help them understand it, the main thing when it comes to our money is really a twofold question. Do I have enough, and will it last? That's what we have to focus on. If we can get good answers and good strategies for those two questions, then we can kind of buffer what's going on around us. We can kind of not get too exercised about inflation or supply chain issues or who knows what, whatever the daily topic of aggravation and conversation is. If we focus on the main thing, we can generate a little extra peace of mind, and we can help the people around us stay a little calmer than perhaps what we are. So that's what we're going to focus on in a kind of a different way. But the main thing today, ladies and gentlemen, is, do I have enough, and will it last? Those are the main two questions. So let's go to work on those today if we can.
Absolutely. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, if you would like to have an individual specific discussion on any of the topics that we discuss that are complicating our financial and retirement planning progress. That is what CFP Ron Courser is here for, to help you address, to help you to uncover, and to help you strategize to make sure that you are working toward your financial goals. Pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, I think you're right. Focusing on the main things. Do I have enough, and will it last? If we've got a plan that gives us relative confidence in those two questions, then we probably stay on track. However, if not, then news of the day is likely to detract from our financial progress, possibly derail our financial progress when we are reactive, when we are making decisions based on the day-to-day rather than the long-term plan that we've set up, established, and have in place.
You know, it's a great comment to make. And what's going through my mind right now is when sometimes I talk to people about their money, their finances, and I hear this, well, I've got this much money saved, and if I just take off 4% or 5% off the top, and the markets go up 7 or 8% every year, I should be okay. And I nod my head when I hear that. I do, because it's a rational thing to say, and it's logical. Here's where the rub comes. The rub comes in is we don't know if the markets are going to earn 5, 7, or 8% going forward over the next 10 or 20 years. And we don't know if taking 4% out of our money, if it's all at risk in the market, is going to give us everything we need tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and next year. So those are the things that we don't have a handle on. Now, here's what I'm going to say to this. We have the ability to help people understand today, if they're planning to retire, we have the ability to do what we call a really in-depth analysis of, do they have enough and will it last? And it's more than just saying, well, you've got $500,000. If you take out 4% a year, I'll give you 20,000, market goes up, you should be fine. That's a hope and a dream and a prayer. And that's kind of scary, because if we look at what the market has done in the last quarter, it's down. I mean, it's been down substantially, it's bounced up, but there's enormous volatility. For the individuals, the people who retired last year or 2 years ago, think about what happened. Think about this. Think about somebody who retired on January 1st, 2020. After years and years of working, after years and years of saving, after years and years of giving up stuff so they could get to that point in time and have enough in retirement, hopefully, so they could retire. So they retired on January 1st, 2020. Kaboom! COVID hit. You know, the market in the first quarter was down 22.1%. And in March of 2020, for an 11-day period, it went down 31. All right, then the markets came back. Everybody said, praise the Lord, it came back. See, I told you if you would just stay the course, it would be fine. And then we said, okay, so then 2021 was an interesting year. The markets went up. Interestingly, when you take a look at, and this is just a little nugget, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the S&P 500, which is the broad market index, over 60% of those 500 stocks, meaning over 300 of them in 2021, were down. We had lost more than 20% of value in 2021. Think about that. Over 60% of the stocks in the S&P 500, the broad market, they're in bear market territory. What drove the market was a few big stocks, and we know that, maybe 50, a handful of them. So then we got into this period now where we are, where it seems like the world has come unglued, and the markets have come unglued, and we have runaway inflation, and we have every kind of problem in the world. So somebody who retired on the 1st of January has run right into the teeth of something that we really wouldn't wish on anybody. We really wouldn't. And I hope that those folks, and it's not our client base, but I hope that those listening out there, if this is something you've encountered and you want a more in-depth analysis of what you own, and is it going to last, and do you have enough, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. and give us your information, and we'll be happy to help you. Because one of the things we can do is say, no matter what the environment is, whether it's crazy like it is now or wonderful like it was 3 years ago, we can answer the question of what's the probability of success that you have enough money in retirement and it's going to last for as long as you do. What's the probability of success? It's more than I think it's going to be okay. You really need to know what the probability of success is, so that it may be required that you make adjustments, or it may say, wow, I'm going to be okay. If, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like that kind of analysis that gives you a probability of success, give us a call, 616-301-2581, because we can help you with this. No matter what's going on, we can be able to say, do you have enough? Answer that question. And what's the probability it's going to be all right? You're going to have all the income you need in life. So give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com, and we'll help you.
Ron, if we've got money in the market, aren't bumps in the road somewhat to be expected? And if we're looking at cost of living, aren't periods of higher inflation somewhat to be expected? I mean, we love the steady as she goes years, and we have seen many of those really since the Great Recession, 2009, all the way till current and present. The market has gone up pretty steadily without a hitch. Inflation has been pretty low, or at least at a reasonable rate. But that's not to say that if we are moving through our financial progress, that we should not be proactively prepared for those things. And if we've got a plan that helps us to be prepared and maintains proper alignment and proper balance, that those things should have little to no impact, if any, on the day-to-day actions that we are taking with our money.
Yeah, it's a minor coulda, shoulda question.
Okay, fair enough.
It really is. We should expect that over a long period of time, the market should go up. We should expect that. We should expect that there will be some downturns. We should expect that. And here's the key question. Should we just allow that to happen and pretend that ultimately it's going to be okay? Or should we create and structure our retirement investment plan that includes building a retirement income plan in such a way that it's buffered against some of the downside? So that maybe if the market goes down 10, our portfolio doesn't go down 10. If the market goes down 40, our portfolio certainly, hopefully won't go down there. But if the market goes up, we want it to make money too. Most of the time when I ask a simple question to individuals: tell me what you want your money to do. Invariably, the answer is, well, I want it to grow. My next question sometimes will be, well, how would you feel if you lost 20% of your total life savings? I don't want that to happen. Then the third question is, given the fact that you want your money to grow and you don't want to lose 20%, how is your current investment plan and retirement income plan structured to avoid as much of that downside and still give you the income you need? And most people don't have an answer for it, because that kind of analysis is really rare. We do it as a matter of course. We do it because I want to make sure that we understand, I guess in a great way of looking at it, what's the worst case scenario? And the reason I bring that up is because in life, it's been my experience that with very, very few exceptions, the worst case scenario never happens. But it's always good to know what that is, because every once in a while it doesn't. Now, I'm not talking about the end of the world scenarios like we had in 2000, 2002, or 2008. But let's go back to my initial conversation of somebody who retired on January 1st, 2020. It has been a really rough couple of years for them. There has been very little peace of mind. There's been very little, I think I'm going to be okay and I can take a deep breath, just because of what's going on. And if you think about it, and you and I have talked about this, Peter, we just came off a really great 10 to 13 year period from 2008, 2009 to where we are now, it was a great period. But if you go back the previous 13 years from that, it was a really bad period. So the question always is, okay, we're going into a new decade, a new period. What can we expect? And the answer probably is, you can expect everything. And so you have to kind of say, okay, I got a plan on everything, but you can't. So it really gets down to two things. What's the main thing? Do I have enough? And will it last? And then the corollary to all that is somebody help me create an income plan in retirement that'll give me the income I need, no matter what the market does. And secondly, do we have enough flexibility in the investment part of that plan to take advantage of things and also to protect myself on the downside a little more than normal? So that's what we offer people. And it's an incredible thing to experience for those who want to have this work done for them. But basically we can say, here's the main thing that you've told me, and here's how it's going to turn out statistically. We can show you over 1,000 experiences what might happen. And it's great information to know whether it turns out well or it turns out you maybe have to make some adjustments. You finally have some firm information on which you can really make great decisions. So ladies and gentlemen, if some of this is of interest to you, give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there and we're more than happy to talk with you. Because there's a lot more to this, but it doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be so complicated, just mumble gumbo kind of stuff. We can actually show you what the main thing is in your life, and is it possible to enjoy your retirement plan?
Ron, you posed the rhetorical question, what can we expect over the next decade? And your answer there was a little bit of everything. And in fact, I think that's one of the reasons why we need to have these conversations and be proactive, because studies show that a lot of us actually retire unexpectedly. And I think that's yet another issue and worry that compounds on everything else, is that we don't always get to determine that timeline and that specific date 100% of our own accord. During 2020, during the COVID downturn, a lot of companies sent workers home, some of them to allow them to work from home. But in other cases, those companies said, hey, we're disbanding some of our workforce. We no longer, unfortunately, are in need of your services. And then there are a myriad of other reasons why studies show up to 60% of retired Americans actually didn't retire on their own timeline. And the fact that that is or could be up in the air is something that probably worries a lot of people in the back of our minds, but yet another reason why planning proactively is so vitally important.
It really is, because surprises happen in life. They always do. You know, you can say, well, I work for a big company and it's got a lot of opportunity for me, I'm going to be okay. Except when the boss comes to you and says, we got to talk because we have to make some changes. Or particularly with people, we get into that, what I call the target zone. You know, you get to be a little over 50 and you've had a good career and you're making a lot of money. And all of a sudden, when the company needs to fix the bottom line, where do they start to look?
Now, Ron, age discrimination, that almost never happens.
I know there's no such thing as age discrimination. But they say, you know what, we got to make some changes here.
I hear sarcasm doesn't translate well over radio. So let me just say, for those that may have missed it, I was being sarcastic there, because while technically it's not allowed, we know, Ron, that age discrimination happens every day in corporate America.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And the other part is that you could be working for a small size company and things can happen. And here's the other part that nobody likes to think about. What if you have a health issue that happens? We've had clients that, because of health things, have had to stop working sooner than they planned. Now, that's a pretty scary thing. But here's the good news. We had done the kinds of things in figuring out what the main thing is. Do they have enough? And will it last? We did enough of that prior to that event happening. so that it wasn't a catastrophic, oh my goodness, what are we going to do situation. We do a lot of that kind of pre-planning that says, you know what, you're in good shape right now. You're 50 years old. You're making a lot of money. Your job is secure. Praise the Lord. And boom, something happens. So the question is, you know what, if I don't have work today, am I going to make it? If something happens and my great plan of retiring at 62 or 65 doesn't happen, am I going to be okay? We can help answer that question. We can do that now before we have to answer that question down the road sometime. So give us a call. If you'd like a little bit of information and like to see how that would work, 616-301-2581. We can focus on what's the main thing. Will I have enough? And is it going to be enough? And will it last? Or go to our website and listen to the rest of today's program or give us a call. On there, you can put your information in www.cornerstone-rp.com.
616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Lots of fantastic additional information, reports, resources, tools, calculators available on the website, cornerstone-rp.com. Also, your opportunity to be in touch, submit questions, request contact, or a time for that complimentary review and retirement planning strategy session to get your course to retirement put together, the actual physical document, the written plan in your hands. Again, Ron and the team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, they offer this on a complimentary, no cost, no obligation basis. All you need to do, pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, or visit the website, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. So Ron, if we've got to constantly be on the ready, if we've got to be prepared for the unexpected, what does that plan for retirement readiness really look like? What does it entail for us to have a confident answer to those two most important questions?
Well, let's do a little role playing. Let's pretend you're coming into my office and you're sitting down and you've got a lot of years ahead of you and life is good and you're knocking down $10 million a year and everything is just fine. So
I shouldn't have a care in the world if that's the case.
It should be all right, except you're spending $2 million a year of your lifestyle. So it's kind of skinny when you think about it. But let's do a little pretend on this. Here's what do we do? And when people come in for the first time, we just ask a lot of questions. That's all we do. We just ask a lot of questions. And a lot of the questions focuses on your value, not just your money, but your values. What's important to you? Family, grandchildren, kids, retirement, income, anything like that, taxes, healthcare. I mean, in our firm, we're able to help answer a lot of the questions. Yes, we manage people's money. We create income strategies and investment strategies for folks, but we also help with the healthcare part of their life, their retirement plan, meaning Medicare, if you get to be 65. If you're before 65 and you don't have work, you need to find other kinds of healthcare. My wife, Nancy, and has her team here as part of Cornerstone Retirement Partners to do that kind of work. So we can actually put together, we have the resources available to put together a plan that covers the two basic things, income and also healthcare, which is incredibly important. It really is. So we would have a conversation that first time. It might last a half an hour, it might last 2 hours, depending on what your interest level is, but we would finally get to the point where we know what your values are. We know what you want your money to do. That's a really key question. What do I want my money to do? We know then we can start to work together to say, okay, I know what I want my money to do. Now, is it going to be okay? Am I going to have enough money if and when I have to retire or have a job change, and will it last? We can begin to work towards that. It's not done in just one time together. And so when we get to the point of time of saying, okay, we finally have gotten to the point where we know how much income you need today, and we know it's going to have to go up over the next 10 years. Then how do we structure an income plan to give you what you need? And secondly, what kind of things should we put your money into? What kind of investments, what kind of buckets, so to speak, so that you get the kind of income you need and gives you the best chance to be successful over the long haul, to answer the question, do I have enough? Am I going to be okay? And it takes a little bit of time. So ultimately, where we end up before you ever choose to join our firm is you see in front of you in written, easy to understand English, where you are, where you're trying to get to, what's the probability of success of what you're trying to accomplish. To answer the question, do I have enough and will I be okay with income? So when we put it all together, ultimately, you end up with that kind of a plan, if you will. And it's a plan that we end up saying to you, here's our rules. I tell people we have rules, believe it or not. We have to meet at least, what are the rules? We have to meet at least 2 times and maybe more on an annual basis to do reviews. Why would I want to do that? Because it's a question of let's get to know each other over a period of time. I want to be able to say to you, Peter, the last time we met, you said you were in great health. Are you healthy? And maybe somebody says, and this, I've had this happen, well, I just went and saw the doctor and they gave me some news and it's not good. That's the kind of thing that can change a plan. That's the kind of information. That's why we want to meet with folks regularly, because this is your money. I tell people very clearly, this is not my money. This is your money. All I'm responsible for is helping you answer those key questions. Do I have enough and am I going to be okay? And part of that is understanding when things can change, because, you know, a statement from a doctor can change everybody's world. So that's one of the reasons we do it. We want to know if we're on target. Are we making progress to whatever our agreed to targets are? Clearly, do you understand what you're invested in? It's what we try to do. And over a period of time, we can make adjustments, but it's really important for us to have that communication. I just don't want you to hang out there sometimes I hear people say, well, I haven't heard from my guy in 2 years. That's not going to happen with us. So that's the kind of help we try to get, the kind of relationships we want, because ultimately what we want to do is give you the peace of mind that's saying, you know what, as far as I know today, I got everything in place. I got all the income I'm going to need, and it's going to last. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is important to you in terms of planning your own financial future, give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. That's www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there and we'll reach out to you and help you every which way we can.
616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. And we are talking about current and ongoing financial concerns on your course to retirement today with Ron Corser, CFP, Certified Financial Planning Professional. Ron Corser, the founder of Cornerstone Retirement Partners, Grand Rapids, your resource for the information and for the specific planning to address your current and ongoing financial concerns. If you'd like to get that course to retirement plan put together, pick up the phone and give a call. 616-301-2581. Quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about some other topics on the minds of savers and investors. And we're back here on your course to retirement. Grand Rapids, your resource for a common sense approach to planning, for perspective and guidance to help uncomplicate the financial world and the decisions that you face with your money, is president and founder of Cornerstone Retirement Partners, Ron Corser, CFP. If you've got questions, you are welcome to field them with Ron and the team at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. They also invite you to come in, have a discussion, have a planning, review, and strategy session, and get your individual written course to retirement plan put together. If you'd like to take them up on that valuable offer and opportunity, pick up the phone, give a call. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. They'll go into a lot of detail with you about your situation and about your money and the jobs that your money is doing to help you achieve your financial goals. They'll look at the risks that you're taking, the fees that you're paying, the taxes that you may be liable for. They'll help you answer those two most important questions. Do I have enough, and how can I make sure that it lasts? And that's really what a lot of the planning discussion on this program has been around, is these current and ongoing financial concerns. And during the break, Ron, we were talking a little bit about the difference between readiness and preparedness. There's probably a lot of people out there that are ready to retire, as in, man, I don't want to go into work anymore. I am so ready to retire. But does that mean necessarily that we are truly prepared to retire?
That's a great difference. I hear it all the time. I am so ready to retire, I can't hardly stand it. And then the question becomes, do you have enough money? Do you have an income plan? Is it going to be okay? Can you retire today? And the answer to that is an answer that we call the diaper question: depends. It depends on if you have somebody help you make that determination. Do you have enough money? Do you have an income plan? It's the most important document in retirement, is that formal, created, written income plan. Do you have enough? Is it going to last? And what's the probability of success? So those are the things I think that are really important, because nobody wants to run out of money, and nobody runs out of money. I've never met anybody that runs out of money. What I have met is people who have suffered such major losses in the market. And keep in mind, major doesn't have to be 50%, because major is different to everybody. But they've suffered enough losses in the market where they've had to cut back on what they spent. That's a much more serious problem than this idea of running out of money, although we all think about it. You know, we don't want to end up broke. We don't end up broke. We just end up cutting back. And hopefully we don't end up spending most of our retirement down in the basement of our house in the corner, kind of watching TV in the darkness. But generally that won't happen. So the question becomes, do you have enough the income? Do you have that plan put together so that you're not going to run out of money? And then there's some parts to this that are really important to ask that question. It really is more than what I said earlier in the program. Well, I got $500,000. If I just take 4% out of that, that's 20,000. I'll be okay, because the market always goes up 5 to 7% a year. There's much more that goes into this. What are those things? Well, number one, the two biggest expenses we're ever going to experience in our retirement life are taxes and healthcare. I'm not making that up. That's just government statistics. And we think about the taxes, we think about this. Most of us have saved most of our money in tax deferred accounts. 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, things like that. That means that money's never been taxed. That means when we have to take money out of those accounts to supplement our income in retirement over and above, say, Social Security, pension, and maybe annuity income, those dollars are going to be taxed, which means if you need $20,000 a year out of your IRA, you're going to have to take more out of your IRA to net you that 20,000. Maybe you're going, depending on where you are, you're going to have to take out 25,000. So what that does is that puts a little more pressure on your life savings, because all of a sudden now you're taking out more than you planned for because of taxes. And we're dealing with income taxes, but all of us know we have so many other taxes in retirement. My goodness, a long time ago, I saw an article for the state of Michigan that there are about averagely 250 taxes we're potentially exposed to in the state of Michigan. So you think about the regular taxes, there's gas tax, food tax, real estate taxes, taxes on everything. And that's just, those are taxes after tax. So you pay income tax on taking money out of your IRA. And then when you buy stuff, you have to pay tax with after-tax money. So it just compounds itself. So making sure that somebody's had a really great discussion with you about the tax implication of your current strategy as to where your money is in one of those buckets. You remember we talked about in the program, there's 3 buckets. One is the tax-deferred bucket. That's all the 401k, IRA stuff, 403b. That money's never been taxed. Whenever you take it out, it's going to be taxed. Then there's the no tax bucket. So Roth IRA, Roth 401ks, things like that. And then there's the kind of tax, the tax advantage bucket, your brokerage accounts, where you put in after-tax money and you're going to get a 1099 on it because you have earned interest, dividends, capital gains, things like that. So one of the things we need to all understand is that taxes are really important. And right now we're in a situation, we've talked about it so often on this program, we're in the lowest tax environment we're ever going to be, in my opinion, we're ever going to be for the rest of our life. Taxes only got one direction to go, from my opinion, and that's up. And most of the time when I ask people about that, they say, yeah, I think taxes are going to go up on income, state, local, whatever you have. So maybe it's a great strategy right now if you have a long time frame, meaning more than a year or two into retirement, to start to create a strategy. If I'm going to pay tax on money in my IRA or 401k, maybe because taxes are so low today, maybe it's a good idea to take some of that money out of those things, put them into a Roth account, for example, and pay tax now at the lowest tax rate I'm ever going to be in my life. It depends on each individual, but taxes are important. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, we're not CPAs, but we're smart enough to know what to do with taxes. If this is an important consideration, if nobody's ever talked to you about the tax implication of your retirement strategy, your income strategy, give us a call, 616-301-2581. We will talk to you in the planning part of what we do together, the impact of taxes on the plan. So give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com, www.cornerstone-rp.com, and just say, I got a question on taxes. We will get back to you and help you. So it's an important consideration.
Ron, you mentioned that the written retirement income plan is the most valuable and important component of the total financial planning and documents. Is tax preparedness, is proactive tax strategy part of and included and incorporated into that written retirement income plan? Is that part and parcel and part of the picture?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Because one of the things we try to help our clients understand is, let's say, Peter, you're going to retire next January 1st. And we decide that you need a whole lot of money out of your retirement plan because you got a pretty nice lifestyle. Well, whatever that income plan is, we know where that money is going to come from, whether it's going to be a taxable account, a tax deferred account, or a tax-free account. And we can do what we call a pro-forma tax plan for you. We use our own company CPAs, the people we use for our personal tax planning, to help with that, to show, and some people doing their own taxes, you can do this. Okay, we're going to put all this into the tax plan. What's going to be the tax ramification? How much am I going to have to pay? And then once we know that, we can say, well, what happens if I take a little bit out now and put it into an account that's never going to be taxed? What's the implication of that now and down the road? So it's the kind of planning that makes great sense for most people. It's the kind of planning that we can help them do. And it brings clarity to the idea of, do I have enough and isn't going to last? Because taxes can be a really big problem if you don't plan for them. And so it's one of the things we do. We say we have to look at the tax issue. We have to look at the tax problem that everybody has and how do we solve it if we can.
Again, if you would like to take a proactive look in not only retirement readiness, but retirement preparedness, having that written retirement income plan that also does take a proactive look at the tax liability and how to address it and how to reduce or minimize it within legal available strategies, by helping you to identify where you have the opportunity to pay the least amount in taxes possible this year and to future coming years. Moving throughout retirement, pick up the phone, give a call. Proactive savers and investors are doing this now. Proactive planners are taking advantage of our current tax rates and brackets and the laws that allow you to control your lifetime tax liability. That is a big part of retirement readiness and preparedness, and knowing if you have enough and how you can make it last. Pick up the phone, give a call. It is part of the course to retirement that Ron and the team will help you put together. We'll put together with you there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, and the written retirement income plan. 616-301-2581. That is 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581. Ron, this is one of the biggest areas. I mean, people look at the balance in those retirement accounts and maybe get a sense of confidence from that balance. But for most of us, there is a debt to the IRS, a yet to be paid bill that we must address during our retirement years. That lump sum that we have includes a portion that is ours and a portion that is the IRS's. And we've got to figure out how to manage that and work our way through it, which, by the way, happens much differently than the paycheck that we receive during our working career.
Yeah, it's really an amazing thing. I mean, there's been enough studies out there, Fidelity, Vanguard, and everybody else, that says, your 401k plan, your retirement plan, and IRA, over your lifetime, if you live to be, say, 85, you're probably going to give up between 30 and 40% of that tax deferred account to the IRS and the state folks for taxes, income taxes. And sometimes people blink their eyes and say, what? But those are the numbers. That's the fact of life. So your $1 million IRA is not really yours at $1 million, because the state, local, federal guys get their piece first before you get to take any money home. And so we think we have a lot of money, and in many ways we do, but it's like everybody wants a piece of us. Everybody, it's like that prodigal child. I had one, and everybody has one, I think, on occasion. They just need a lot of money, and hopefully you pray that the prodigal child will become the non-prodigal child and get over it. Unfortunately, the IRS is the forever prodigal child. They're always demanding more and more and more. And it's our job as advisors to help people, give them less and less and less legally over time. And we have a pretty good strategy and a way to approach that that works for most people. But it's really a key issue, the taxes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can help you with the retirement income plan because taxes are such a great part of that. Give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there and we'll reach out to you and help you every which way we can.
616-301-2581. Once again, the number for that Course 2 retirement plan, a written plan, a document that you can refer back to make sure that you have addressed and that you stay on track in addressing some of the top of mind, current and ongoing concerns that we have about our money. Again, the team from Cornerstone Retirement Partners, happy to sit with you, talk with you, answer a few quick questions over the phone if that gets the ball rolling for you having a plan, but invite you in and really discuss what you want your money to do for you and what it will take to answer those two big questions. Do I have enough, and how can I be confident that that money will last? That is what the Course to Retirement plan is really all about. Similar plans, by the way, can easily go upwards of $1,000 to several thousands of dollars, but the Course to Retirement plan you'll only find there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. Pick up the phone, give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, you mentioned that these big expenses that we may encounter or will encounter into our future must be addressed as part of that plan. Taxes, certainly one of those that we do have some foresight into and knowledge of what the future may hold. We can plan proactively for that. One of the big elephants in the room that is more of an unknown is what health care may bring, both from a physical standpoint and a financial standpoint. But it doesn't mean that we should not address that as part of the planning process.
And that's where we can be a great help in our firm, because the healthcare planning is a key part of the plan that we put together for people. My wife Nancy's team handles the Medicare, the Obamacare, all that other stuff, long-term care planning, short-term healthcare, those kinds of issues. It's a key part of the planning issue. And we focus on it as a key part because it's so important to be part of that whole retirement income plan, or my goodness, I just got let go from my company. Now what am I going to do? So we can be a great help there. And it's it's not something that's done in 10 minutes. My wife's staff takes a lot of time with people to talk about their options. If they're going into the Medicaid, they're 65 and they're Medicaid eligible, Medicare eligible, what are the options? And there are many. What's the best plans, the drug plans? If somebody is not 65, what is the open market out there going to offer? Or should you stay on a COVID plan? Or do you need a drug plan? Things like that. Really important stuff. Sometimes people say, well, I can't go without health insurance. And boy, that is absolutely correct. Because about 10 minutes after you don't have health insurance, you're probably going to need it. And you don't want to go experience that. So that's a big part of what we do. Another big part of what we do, and this is another tax. How do we deal with inflation? That was not a big issue 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the big issue was, are we all going to die from COVID? And we found out that no, that wasn't going to happen either, although it was pretty bad for a while. But inflation is just another tax, and it's an insidious tax because we don't feel it, we don't see it until we start to pay attention to buying things every day at the supermarket. We're buying clothes. We're trying to figure out if we can afford to buy another car, whether it's a used car or a new car. Those are things where inflation creeps up on us. And so it's a balancing act, isn't it? We want our money to be as safe as possible. We want our money to give us the income we need in retirement so that we can retire with a sense of security and peace of mind. And then we have this other thing called inflation that is absolutely just turned into a giant monster here in our country over the last year. And it's gotten progressively worse. And you can argue about the politics about it, you can argue about the economics about it, but when it comes to our retirement planning and our investment strategy, it's just another big deal that we have to face. What are we going to do about inflation? And some people could say, well, the best long-term cure for inflation for individual investors is to stay in the stock market. That's true up to a point. It is. But there comes a point in time when inflation gets too high, where it absolutely negatively impacts the stock market. We're kind of going through that now. We really are. You know, we go back to, some of us remember how it was in good old Jimmy Carter days. Inflation, the way they measured it back then, got up to be about 14%. And the stock market went in the toilet. We went through a period of time where the stock market was perhaps the least wonderful place to have your money. Because after a certain point in time, inflation not only is a tax on us, but it's something that just hammers the stock market. These are important things to consider in developing an investment plan and a real retirement income plan.
Yeah. Two comments or observations, maybe one of each, is that, Ron, you mentioned the way they measured inflation back in the Jimmy Carter days may have been a much more honest way of actually measuring inflation. Today's numbers just don't seem to reflect the reality. And then the observation as well that in times of higher inflation, a lot of people's perception is, oh, well, at least the market will help me to grow my dollars and therefore offset some of that inflation. What we find is that historically, if we look back at history, that actually has not occurred at the same time. They have not been coincided where higher inflation is met with rising markets. In fact, it's quite often the opposite.
And there's a reason for that. I'm going to try to go through that very briefly. So I want everybody to put on their imaginary tinfoil hat, because that's where all good stuff comes from, right? Think about this. You're running a big corporation and there's inflation in there and you have some pricing ability, meaning you can raise prices. So as the corporate guy, you raise prices on your goods. Your widget goes from $10 to $11. That's a 10% price increase. And you're able to get away with it and you're still able to sell more. Meanwhile, because of inflation now, inflation takes a little while to catch up with you. Your cost of goods haven't changed dramatically. So this quarter, you raise your widget price from 10 to 11, and you're still paying about what you're paying for inputs. Well, the next quarter, you can't raise your price anymore, but all of a sudden, the cost of goods for you goes up 10%. So that means it squeezes your profit margins. That means the next time you report profits per share, because you're a publicly traded company, profits go down per share. What does that do? That deflates your stock price. So as every company starts to experience that, that's why ultimately inflation that gets out of control dampens the stock market and hurts profitability of companies because there's a limit to how much they can raise prices. And then they may also have increases in the cost of labor like we're going through now. So that's why over a long period of time, inflation is a real big negative on the stock market when it gets too high, whatever too high may be in that current market environment. So ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about a lot of important things here in your financial life. We've talked about how do we answer the question, do I have enough and is it going to last? Very important. How do we go about answering that? Well, we ask a lot of questions. We create a written income plan for you. We create an income plan that takes into consideration the cost of healthcare, the impact of taxes on your life savings, the impact on inflation. Are there strategies that we can do that'll minimize it? And there are. The impact of having a bad market. Are there things we can do to protect on the downside? Ladies and gentlemen, there are strategies available to do that aren't complicated, they're not goofy. We use them with our clients where they're appropriate. So we put all this together in a plan that says, based on where we are today, we can help you answer the question, do I have enough? And is it going to last? And will I be okay? And if we have to make changes, will Ron and his staff help make the changes so that I can take advantage of stuff or minimize the impact of stuff? If this makes sense to you somehow, give us a call, please. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name and information in there, and we will help you. And I believe we can help you, no matter what's coming down the road, and who knows what it is. But this is going to be an interesting year for all of us. And we can help you make some sense of it when it comes to your retirement plan and your life savings. So give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com.
Again, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. And Ron, in previous weeks, we have discussed the market, and the reality of the market is that there are good times and then there are disruptions. There are periods where the market declines, and we have discussed the frequency, the regularity, the magnitude of some of those previous downturns and how, if we are invested, they should be expected. They are part of the natural course of investing. Now, I know you're a fan of the market and the fact that it is a fantastic tool for financial progress. I mean, your firm helps your clients, savers and investors, manage millions, tens of millions of dollars in the market. But the answer to these questions of will I have enough and will it last, with the market being unpredictable into the future as far as the day-to-day movement and direction, that is not the solution that can give us 100% assurance that we have answers to these two questions. We have to have a plan utilizing the market as one of the tools to compromise the solution and the structure of that plan.
We do. You know, there's an expression in life, and everybody's heard it, that if every problem in life is a nail, the only solution is a big hammer. And most of us know that there are more problems in life than just a nail. And that goes to work with our retirement planning. There's a lot of different things we have to deal with. I won't call them problems, just call them things that we have to deal with. And maybe a hammer will work for a couple of them, but maybe a couple other we need a screwdriver. Or maybe in a worst case scenario, we need duct tape. Because duct tape, it covers a lot of sins, man. And you know, they even have camouflage duct tape out there now. I've got some. So if we wrap your investment portfolio with camouflage duct tape, nobody's going to be able to see it. And that'll be really good. So there's a lot of different solutions to things. So knowing which one to use that might make some sense, it's easy from a top down to say, well, we'll do this in this situation, this and that. But ladies and gentlemen, it gets down to you. Never forget that you are a human being uniquely created by God. There's nobody else like you out there. That means that we may use a hammer and a screwdriver and duct tape and a miter box and who knows what else for you in a way that we don't use it for other people, because we have to do and use what's appropriate to make it give you the best chance to succeed. So there's a lot of tools out there. We got access to all of them. The question is, which ones should we use for you? So give us a call, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.cornerstone-rp.com, and we'll help you figure out what tools are appropriate for you today, given what you're facing.
Savers and investors have plenty to worry about as we look at our financial and economic world and the decisions that we face with our money. But having a plan in place and having the resource of Ron Corser, a certified financial planning professional, and his team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners there as your resource can help to feel more confident each and every day as we move through our future and face some of these challenges. So pick up the phone, give them a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, we always enjoy and appreciate your time here on the program. Thank you for being the resource on your course to retirement.
Well, I enjoy this and I enjoy helping people. I want to have everybody just say, have a blessed Sunday. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Tune into Cornerstone Retirement Partners' full radio program, Your Course to Retirement, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock at News Radio WOOD, or visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor.
Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group is solely an indication that the financial advisor has attended training provided by Ed Slott and Company, passed biannual examinations on material covered at conferences and in webinars, and met other membership requirements, and does not constitute an endorsement of any kind. Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group members pay a fee for the educational programs that allow them to be included in the Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. Membership does not guarantee investment success. Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services.
Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the products featured